Hello and welcome to the Spanish Grand Prix. It's episode 23, I believe. It's the third race of season 2. And like I say, we are at Spain. We're in Barcelona. We've got a marketing department situation. We're going to increase our team acclaim by 1,000 at risk of a little bit of money, but that's okay. We're going to try our best today after a fairly decent start to the season. We obviously came first at Bahrain, and then I believe we came in top 10 at China. I can't particularly remember. I'm going to have a quick look. At the moment we're sitting third. It's going to be a full wet race. That's really annoying. I do not want to do a wet race at Spain. Let's get the practice out of the way and then we'll head into qualifying to see where we can qualify. Hopefully Giovinazzi can have a good season this season. I'm probably going to replace him for season 3, but season 2 it's his to pretty much impress. Right, we're on our second lap of qualifying as we do run wide after the DRS straight. We're we are now 7 tenths up on our time, almost pushing 8 tenths. Can we make it into Q2? Now, I'm not very good at Spain. I do struggle at Spain. As we go around the final bend, 9 tenths up. We're almost a second up on our best lap time, which puts us P15 with 11 seconds to go. I think we might make it through to Q2 there. Danny Rick and Lando Norris with the first 1-2 in qualifying. Obviously, they got a 1-2 in the Italian Grand Prix recently. Danny Rick with his first race since 2018, I believe it was. Let's have a quick look to see where we will start tomorrow's race. Do we make it through? We do. We go through to Q2. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for a run or not. I didn't go for a run. I didn't think it was worth it. We're going to start P16 in the race tomorrow. So let's jump to the Sunday.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's 730 metres from pole position down to a slippery turn 1 here, the first of 16 corners around this 2.89 mile racetrack. The long, wide turn 3 and the uphill right-hander of turn 9 can both be taken full throttle in the right conditions, but I doubt very much we'll be seeing any of that today. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Mercedes. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs, but this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Nobuharu Matsushita and Leclerc, Sainz, Bottas, Perez and Sebastian Vettel, Gasly, Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda and Stroll, Giovinazzi, the owner-driver, Christian Lundgaard and Mick Schumacher, Joe, Russell, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Okay, here we are. Strategy wise, probably just going to go wet wet. Not really much I can do. I'll do a one stop, keep that track position. Hopefully a safety car might potentially come out and help us out. But it's going to be a very long, boring race. Like, I'm not very good at Spain as it is, let alone in the wet. So let's hope a few safety cars can come out and make the race a little bit more interesting. As we start 16th, one position behind Giovinazzi, and off we go. It is full wet, as you can see there are puddles on the racetrack, so we have got the full wet tyres on as we straight away drop down to 19th. We don't get the best starts. We do send it up the inside and try and get back into 15th, 16th, so we don't lose any positions off the get-go. Going to go up the inside of Lance Stroll there, as Giovinazzi had already overtaken the Canadian, so we're going to follow him through. Can we take Giovinazzi? We're going to go up the inside of Giovinazzi and Sonoda. And can we get P13? That's a great start so far. Ocon up next in P12. The aim here is points. As you can see, Bottas just losing the back end a little bit. I'm going to try and go up the end of Ocon at the end of the straight. Right, now onto the final straight. We're going to try and catch up to Vettel in the slipstream. Obviously, DRS has not been enabled yet. We managed to gain a couple of attempts on Vettel. We do cut the corner a little bit, as now we go round through the first sector. Ocon does hit us a little bit actually through that first sector. We're now on to lap 7 and we're obviously asking for a weather report. Seb Vettel is now 7 seconds up the road. So
like the best tyre for now.
we've been lapping okay, but as you can see Vettel has spun ahead of us. Can we avoid him? As you can see he's parked on the apex to turn 2. This is the perspective of the Sebastian Vettel. What did he do? Did he just... Oh, he does just spin at turn 1. And he parks his car literally on the apex at turn 2. We luckily managed to avoid him as we just get past him.
Okay, clear.
But I feel like another car might crash into him and cause a safety car. We're on board with Ocon here, who also misses him. No one's hit into Vettel yet, but a safety car has been deployed. Lap 8, safety car is out. Not 100% sure what's happened. Has a car hit into Vettel? Not sure, but we're going to jump to the end of the lap, and I'm thinking about pitting. Not many cars have. One of the McLarens has pit. We'll find out soon who that is, as well as Checo Perez. He is also pit. I feel like pitting early and then going to the end is going to be a very good for us strategy-wise. It's Danny Ricciardo that has pitted early. But we are going into the pit for a fresh set of wets. We've done 9 laps, so we've got 24-ish laps to go. 22 after the safety car ends. The tyres are meant to do about 17, so if we can look after the tyres for about 5 laps, we will make it to the end, and we should be on for a good points haul here, especially if the other cars don't pit soon. We will, obviously on the better tyre, we won't be, like, they won't pull away from us. As flags go green and we are running again, we will restart in P21, but I don't think it's that bad considering everyone else has to pit. We're going to try our best to make our way through the pack and see where we can finish. Obviously we're going to the end now, we've got 22 laps to go to the end. So we're right on the rear end of Russell. We're going to get a good exit here and manage to go up the outside. No, he goes defensive. So we're going to go round the outside. As you can see a replay here. Go round the outside of the young British driver, who obviously has just sealed a move to Mercedes in real life. Be interesting to see what happens in the career mode in terms of transfers, especially with Matsushita at Mercedes. I'm not sure if he's going to stay there. As again we go round the outside of Nikita Mazepin at the exact same corner that we overtook George Russell at. Oh no, it's the corner before, sorry.
Okay, good work.
But we
Great
now
pass.
have the outside for this corner, and we managed to squeeze him out and regain and take the position. Good overtake around the outside again on Nikita Mazepin. Mick Schumacher up next, and then Latifi, and then I think Lundgaard in P16. But looks like Sector 1 is our hunting ground so far in this race, as we fake to the inside. We do run wide here, so we are going to stay off the track. We're not going to illegally re-enter the track. And then we manage to stick it around the outside of Mick, letting him have the position until we get back fully onto the racetrack. And then we go up the inside for the next corner. It's a great overtake. As you can see, I do stay wide. I come back on the track for the corner, and then I make the overtake on the next corner. So that's another car out of the way as Mick tries to retaliate on us, and there isn't contact, but Mick spins, gets hit by Mazepin. And as you can see here from Mazepin's perspective, Mick does spin on the... It's a mixture of the curb, the rain, and us, but there wasn't any contact with our car.
Okay, you're catching
We're now
the car
chasing Latifi in P17. Obviously, every car is still yet to pit. So we are still on for some good points, as we're going to go around the outside. No, we're not. We're going to fake it to the inside at turn 1. We're going to have the outside for turn 2 and then the inside for turn 3. We should get a good exit, and we are up to P17 now. You can see cars are starting to pit. We've got an Aston Martin, an Alpine, a Ferrari, a Red Bull and a Mercedes in the pit. How close are we going to come out to, I believe, Matsushita in the Mercedes? Verstappen's going to be coming out of the pit as well, so we're going to go around the outside of the Red Bull driver. Hamilton is the one that came out of the pits. He's going to be in P9, so we're not going to catch the Mercedes driver. But we're now in P11 after the first round of pit stops. Giovinazzi's now into the pit, and as you can see, so is the other McLaren, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Ferrari, and obviously Giovinazzi. Are we going to manage to come out ahead of both of them? It looks like we're going to beat Matsushita. Are we going to get out ahead of Norris? It doesn't look like it. So we're currently on track for a P5 finish. Obviously, we are behind Ricciardo and Perez. If we can keep Verstappen and Matsushita behind us, we're on for some good points in this race. We're lap 19 now. We've managed to keep P5 for as long as it has been. Obviously, Max Verstappen is going to try and attack us with his much fresher tyres. We're just going to try and defend him. Use the limits of the racetrack and try to keep the position over Max. If we do fall down the order, it'll be okay because, well, I mean, P5, P6, P7 is still good in the wet at Spain because I'm not very good at Spain. Ricciardo and Perez have pit again, interestingly enough. I'm not going to pit again. I'm going to the end. So we are now going to be on a podium. If we can get round Ricciardo, who is coming out of the pit lane, we're going to go round the outside. And we managed to get P3 with, what's that, 11 laps to go, 12 laps to go. We are on for a podium in the wet at Spain. As you can see, I think this is Ricciardo and Verstappen on the next lap. Them fighting is going to help me massively. Obviously, we've got aging tyres. So as long as Verstappen can stay ahead of Ricciardo, who's obviously on fresh wets, it will really help us. I'm still setting green sectors, so these wet tyres aren't that bad, as we do lose the rear end. It's unfortunate timing to talk about how good the tyres are being, but we managed to get better traction on the exit of corner and re-overtake Max Verstappen, who went for a move on us, but I wasn't going to let it happen. Fortunately enough, there's no DRS when it's raining. If there was, I think the cars would have got past us, but if we enable to, well, if we use our ERS the best places possible, I think we're going to be able to stay ahead of quite a few of these cars that are behind us. We now have a Haas retiring from the race. He's going to pull to the left-hand side of the track and turn off his engine. We've got Max Verstappen trying to go down the outside on the DRS straight. Obviously, there is no DNS enabled. As we're going to drive past, who is that? Mick Schumacher on the left-hand side. With 3 laps to go, we're in 4th position. We did let Ricciardo get past us, unfortunately, but 4th position in the wet at Spain. As we actually go round the last few corners, we are going to get 4th. Our tyre wear is about 60% on that front left, but 4th position at Spain is a very, very good result for me, and a great result for the team. It'll be interesting to see where Giovinazzi finishes. I think he's at the back of that pack, so I'm not 100% sure, but that is P4.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Lando Norris takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I'm going to give it to the owner-driver today. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.